If it was just you, stuck on a desert island, with no one around, what would you be like? I mean, imagine that it's like totally safe. Okay, so you've got like a phone and you've got Tesco Direct. You're not in any immediate danger. But there's just no people around. Who would you be? As long as they've been Christians, they've been believers who have taken themselves away from everything, away from family and friends, from pressure, away from fun, away from distraction, some of them even away from food, even away from the traditions of how we worship together. Some of them became like hermits. They built themselves cells, or they lived in like caves or keels on the Isle of Man, or they walled themselves into little places on the side of churches so people could come and find them easily, or they lived in forests, or they lived on cliffs or by seas. Others take short periods to come away and be silent, or to be quiet. It's so often in doing this that we find out what our faith is really made of. Is our faith, is it actually kind of made of scaffolding which is surrounding a crumbling heart? You know, like the scaffolding is our traditions, and inside it, it's just holding up this old crumbling building. Or is our faith actually like a living heartbeat inside a body, and the body is our traditions, and the heartbeat is the faith which pumps this faith blood around a living organism? So one day some of the religious leaders arrived from Jerusalem to watch Jesus. They did this all the time. They sent groups of leaders from the centre of Israel up to the top of Israel to find Jesus. It was a long journey, and they did it to kind of see what it was that he was doing. This group noticed that not all of Jesus' disciples were following the Jewish rituals when it came to hand washing before eating. Their custom, handed down to them according to their tradition, was to cup their hands and pour water over their hands every time before they ate. And if they'd been to the market to buy food, they had to completely immerse their hands into water. And they had other traditions as well, like when they had to wash like cups, and how they washed jugs and kettles. And all of this stuff is going around in their heads as they're watching Jesus and his disciples, and they're watching what he's doing or not doing when it comes to them eating. So they ask this question. So we've got to remember that this is stuff that they have convinced themselves that this is the right thing to do. This is the way that they can worship God correctly. And Jesus is allowing his disciples not to do it. So logically, they ask Jesus the question, why don't your disciples wash their hands in the way that they're supposed to? Jesus does reply to them, but it's not like the gentle Jesus reply. It's hard, it's pointed, and there's this undertone of anger that we see sometimes in Jesus. And he says to them, you are hypocrites. There's an ancient prophet, Isaiah, who wrote this. These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Their worship is like a farce. They teach human ideas as if they were God's commands. When Isaiah wrote this, Jesus said to them, he was writing about you. He was being prophetic about you. And then he said to them, You are swapping out God's actual ways for your own traditions. There's another time when he comes up to them and he says to them, you're straining out a gnat from your drink, but when you drink it, you're swallowing a camel. In so many ways, their traditions had become that scaffolding supporting a crumbling building rather than what God longed for, what he wanted, what he still longs for, which is for us to have this beating heart of faith inside us, pumping faith around a living organism. You know, I often take myself away. Sometimes it's just in my room to pray. Sometimes it's for a whole week, retreat somewhere. Sometimes it's just for a walk off with my dog, Ella, to a quiet place. I find places that I can go and I can pray, or I can read, or I can just be, you know, just be with my God. These desert island places. Sometimes everything we have about our faith can be things that are done to us or done for us. But God longs to be able to look us in the eye and just say to us, will you come away with me? Will you come away with me, just you and me, to a quiet place? And will you spend some time with me? I wonder, where is that place with you? That place that gets your faith heart pumping, those quiet places. The places where we remember why the traditions that we love are even there. You know, the place which makes our faith breathe again. The place that remembers why God loves communities, why he loves the world, why he even loves you. The place where everything can slow down. And you can be with God, just you and God together, before you go together back into the hectic noise of the reality that we all live in. For some of us it's music that does that. For some of us it's being in nature. For some of us it's serving human need. For some of us it's writing or running or painting or silence or solitude or being by the beach, standing in the sea. For some of us maybe it's even sleep. So find time to reawaken your heart. May your traditions be a living organism fueled by a faith that pumps Jesus around your veins. And may Jesus say to you, these people honor me with their lips and their hearts are close to me. Their worship lives are beautiful and my sacred worldview always comes first.